Hi, welcome to my channel, The Aha Moments, where I share insightful stories, anecdotes, experiences, and learnings. And why the audio story? Well, instead of me feeding my imagination to you, you can use yours to create your own version of characters and scenes in the story. So here it goes. I don't know why, but it's mostly difficult to admit ignorance and say we don't know. I would guess we associate knowledge with pride and ego, be it among friends or with colleagues. It might have happened with you as well when there is a technical term used in a meeting and we pretend to understand and make a mental note that the moment we get a chance, we will Google. After 20 years of my career, I realized I have said I don't know more times in last 3-4 years than I would have done in last 15 years. Don't know I'm getting wiser or dumber. Let me share a story with you about somebody who professed this idea. Socrates. He was a famous Greek philosopher of before Christ era. He was pretty ahead of his time in his thoughts, philosophies, and above all, his way of teaching. And as usual, it takes few generations to accept the radical thoughts, and the contemporary generation always condemns such radical thinkers. In fact, few centuries later, we might even end up worshipping some of them. So Socrates was arrested and the jury was set to begin his trial. There were two major accusations against him. One, the corruption of youth, which basically meant he was teaching them to doubt the status quo. And second, impiety, which meant not believing in the gods which the people of those times believed. Socrates chose to defend himself, and while defending his philosophy of questioning everything, he narrated this incident. So, once a person went to Oracle of Delphi Pythia. She was a seer who made prophecies and answered questions but in a rather mystical ways. This person asked her, "Is there anybody wiser than Socrates?" She replied, "No, there is no man wiser than Socrates." When Socrates heard about this, he was surprised. He knew that Oracle would not lie, but he also knew something was not right. As he believed he was not wise, forget wisest of all. He therefore set out in search of somebody wiser than himself, so that he could take that person as evidence to Oracle. He met, questioned numerous people who appeared to be wise. He tested minds of politicians, poets, and scholars for wisdom. There were geniuses, but he found no one who possessed wisdom. While people believed they were wise, and they themselves thought they were wise, Socrates was not convinced. He wondered. And it finally dawned upon him that in her own mystical ways what the oracle meant. He was the wisest because he was aware that he was not wise. He was the wisest because he was aware he did not know everything. Rest all were not even aware. Being aware of his ignorance made him the wisest of all. Thus, he was just helping the city of Athens by pointing out incorrect way of thinking. That's what he argued. Sadly, he was found guilty by the jury and was condemned to death by poisoning. Socrates professed his not knowing. His strongest confidence was, while the human wisdom begins with the recognition of his own ignorance, which is so true. Admitting I don't know is the perfect start for any new learning.